It's midnight and you're tuning into Nightline with me, Zahir, Kelvin and Abdullah. The top stories. Government cut subsidy for chicken eggs from 10 cent to 5 cent starting Thursday. And 46 million ringgit allocated for Putra Heights housing and infrastructure construction. The government will reduce the subsidy for chicken eggs from 10 cent to 5 cent per egg starting from Thursday before removing it completely on August 1st. Egg production and stock levels have stabilized while production costs have remained consistent. In a statement, the Agriculture and Food Security Ministry said prolonged price controls and subsidies have become unsustainable for the long-term survival of local egg producers and the country's fiscal health. The ministry noted that during the recent Hari Raya Aidilfitri celebrations, egg supply remained sufficient with prices remaining competitive. The subsidy was first introduced during the COVID-19 pandemic to ensure a steady supply and was extended due to rising global prices of soybean and corn, key components in chicken feed triggered by the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Between February 2022 and December last year, the government spent 2.5 billion ringgit on this subsidy program. The ministry said a review was timely in line with the government's targeted subsidy policy. Savings from the reduced subsidy will now be redirected towards projects aimed at improving public welfare. Meanwhile, the Cabinet has given its assurance that continuous monitoring will be carried out to prevent any disruption in the supply or sale of chicken eggs.
Pada ketika COVID melanda, di mana terdapat masalah dari segi bekalan akibat daripada beberapa perkara yang berlaku pada waktu itu. Dan kita lihat hari ini dari segi stok, dari segi penghasilan, dia menunjukkan trend yang positif.
Fahmi, who is also the Unity Government spokesperson, said this during a post-cabinet press conference earlier on Wednesday.
Walaupun jumlah yang keluar mengundi itu rendah kalau dibandingkan.
The federal government is allocating 46 million ringgit, 40 million towards rebuilding homes and 6 million ringgit to restore public infrastructure affected by the Putra Heights gas explosion on April 1st. Selangor Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Amiruddin Syahri said restoration work will begin on May 1st. Repair works will begin with preliminary assessments to evaluate the structural integrity of the buildings. Amiruddin said the process will involve repair works for minor to structural damages. Work to repair homes will be divided into 3 categories.
Shilling maksimum yang digunakan untuk membaik pulih rumah-rumah ini adalah sebanyak RM300,000 untuk setiap unit rumah. Manakala bagi rumah-rumah yang mengalami kerosakan di bawah 40%, RM150,000 diletakkan sebagai shilling. Seterusnya 57 unit rumah tidak mengalami kerosakan struktur memerlukan pembaikan berskala kecil telah ditetapkan sebanyak RM30,000 sebagai shilling.
The recovery process will begin with the construction of residential units within 100 meters of the incident site. The reconstruction process is expected to be completed in 24 months. The Menteri Besar also said that about 60 to 70% of residents will return to their homes by the end of June. Meanwhile, 3 sections of gas pipeline measuring 16 meters long have been removed from the site of the recent Putra Heights explosion. The pipes will be examined by the Department of Occupational Safety and Health to determine the cause of the blast. Selangor Police Chief Datuk Hussein Omar Khan, who visited the scene earlier on Wednesday with members of the media, said another 5-meter section of pipe is expected to be extracted later this week.
Bukan mudah nak bawa keluar pipe tu besar. Jadi dia ada dia punya prosedur, dia kena letak dia punya tapak platform, lepas tu kena angkut dengan keadaan kena preserve evidence dia, it take time lah. Jadi itu yang kata dalam 1 week lagi baru boleh keluar.
Once the final section is retrieved, authorities will begin digging to locate an excavator believed to be buried near the blast site. In the meantime, the Selangor Police Chief said progress at the blast site has been hampered by unpredictable weather conditions.
Jadi keadaan cuaca yang saya kata hampir 75% daripada hari-hari yang dalam tempoh 29 hari ini adalah hari hujan. Jadi menyukarkan lagi atau melambatkan lagi kerja-kerja siasatan di tempat kejadian itulah.
Excavation work has been suspended repeatedly due to rain in line with safety protocols. To date, the task force has dug as deep as 16 meters across an area spanning 80 meters at the blast site. From Thursday, all private hospitals, clinics and community pharmacies will be required to display the prices of all medicines. This includes prescription drugs, over-the-counter products, traditional remedies and health supplements. A joint statement by the Health Ministry and the Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry said the move is being implemented under the Price Control and Anti-Profiteering Act 2011. The initiative aims to empower consumers with transparent information, allowing them to compare prices and make informed decisions when managing their healthcare expenses. Prices must be displayed either through a clear price list or individual price tags. Medicines placed on shelves for sale must be labelled, while those kept behind the counter must be listed with their respective selling prices. Authorities will conduct phased monitoring and enforcement of the ruling over the next 3 months. Labor Day serves as a reminder of the dedication and resilience shown by workers in every corner of society. It is also a time to reflect on the realities many face, where commitment to duty often outweighs the luxury of rest. Nightline's Muhammad Nadir Azfar reports.
While often overlooked, unsung workers continue to keep Malaysia moving, powering through the nation's daily life with unwavering dedication. Today on Labor Day, their unseen efforts take center stage as they remind us of the many hands that keep everything running.
Labor Day, observed annually on May 1st, is a public holiday celebrated in many countries around the world. Not everyone, however, enjoys the privilege of taking time off during this day that honors the contributions of the workforce. For 60-year-old Gan Kah Ming, public holidays such as Labor Day are an opportunity in itself to earn more than he usually does. A real estate agent turned taxi driver, Gan has been getting people from point A to point B for over 14 years.
I'm still doing real estate at that time. So when I do viewing, I drive my taxi car there. So from there, they know that I'm driving taxi. So whenever they need it, then they will call me. Particular to airport sometimes, because going to airport during the midnight, they are not that comfortable with others. Yes, taxi is challenging. Whereas in property industry, we make appointment with the owner or the prospect. Whereas taxi, we can't expect any call, and some of them are urgent call. So it's totally different scenario.
Even at 60, Gan, who has had Bill's-Hecht syndrome since birth, has no plans to slow down, driven by his commitment to provide for his family. Gan's determination goes beyond just driving passengers to their destinations. He also takes on odd jobs such as delivering household goods, groceries and food items.
Because my son is still in college, so he'll be going to yield in a couple of months' time. So that is what drives me on, keep on going. Go out with my son, because my son is in college. So if an opportunity arises, then I'll go out with my son for a meal.
As the world changes, one thing stays the same: the quiet strength of those who work hard every day. This Labor Day, let's not just thank them, but also work towards a future where every worker feels valued and supported. Muhammad Nadir Asfar for Nightline TV3.
The general insurance industry recorded 23.1 billion ringgit in gross written premiums in 2024, marking a 6.9% growth compared with the preceding year. The General Insurance Association of Malaysia, PIAM, said the growth in general insurance premiums was mostly due to the recovery in vehicle sales and sustained momentum in infrastructure and liability-related insurance. PIAM said motor insurance was the largest contributor to premium growth last year, with an additional 651.1 million ringgit, yielding a 6.7% rise, following a 2.1% increase in new vehicle registrations compared with 2023. It added that the medical and health insurance subsector also recorded growth with a 10% surge in premiums in 2024. The group nonetheless expressed confidence that the general insurance industry was on a steady path of growth despite external uncertainties. Thailand's central bank on Wednesday cut its key interest rate by a quarter point for a second consecutive meeting on Wednesday in a move to support an underperforming economy facing uncertainty over steep US tariffs. The Bank of Thailand's Monetary Policy Committee voted 5-2 to reduce the one-day repurchase rate by 25 basis points to 1.75%, the lowest level in 2 years. The central bank also cut its growth forecast for 2025 to 2%, down from just above 2.5% seen in February and 2.9% predicted in December. It said there were downside risks to growth and US trade tariffs could weigh in the second half of the year, and if the trade war escalated, then growth would just be 1.3% this year. Oil prices extended declines on Wednesday and were set for their largest monthly drop in almost 3.5 years as the global trade war eroded the outlook for fuel demand, while concerns over mounting supply also weighed. Brent crude futures fell 0.8% to $63 per barrel, while US West Texas Intermediate or WTI crude futures also dropped 0.7% to $60 a barrel. So far this month, Brent and WTI have both lost around 15% and 16% respectively, the biggest percentage drops since November 2021. Both benchmarks slumped after US President Donald Trump's announcement of tariffs on all US imports. Nigerian man denies biting policeman's ear. This and more after this breather. Welcome back to Nightline. A Nigerian man claimed trial at the magistrate's court in Kuala Lumpur on Wednesday to wounding a policeman by biting the latter's left ear. Oken Yeke Kelvin Obianke was charged under the Penal Code with causing grievous hurt to Police Corporal Danierul Azrak Ahmad Kher by biting off part of his left ear last Friday. The alleged offence took place in front of a clinic in Kepong. If found guilty, Oken Yeke will face a jail term of up to 7 years and a fine. Magistrate S. Megaswari denied bail and fixed June 10 for the next mention. In another court, Oken Yeke claimed trial to a charge under the Immigration Act for not having a valid permit to enter Malaysia, and another count under the Dangerous Drugs Act for self-administrating Nimet-Tesibam. Both offences allegedly happened on the same day. Magistrate Atika Muhammad denied bail and set June 23rd for mention. 4 people, including Datuk Sri, have been remanded for 4 days in connection with an alleged submission of false claims amounting to 360 million ringgit. The remand order was issued by the Magistrates Court in Putrajaya on Wednesday. The suspects, aged between their 50s and 70s, are believed to have submitted the false claims between 2016 and 2017. According to sources, they are suspected to have submitted false claims amounting to approximately 360 million ringgit using sukuk funds for Klang Valley highway construction project valued at 1.3 billion ringgit. The false claims were allegedly made to secure illegitimate payments linked to the infrastructure project. The case is being investigated under Section 18 of the MACC Act. In Terengganu, a former assistant quantity surveyor at the Dungun Municipal Council and his wife pleaded not guilty in the Kuala Terengganu Sessions Court to charges of abuse of power and submitting false documents. 41-year-old Hanif Ahmad and 47-year-old Maimunah Shabuddin made the plea after the charges against them were read out separately before the judge. Hanif faces 4 charges of abusing his position for gratification in the form of contracts for public cleaning services and related work worth a total of 4.9 million ringgit by recommending companies owned by his father, brother and friends on December 16, 2018 and March 9, 2021. Maimunah, who was a contractor at the time, faces 10 charges of submitting false account statements and company registration certificates for 3 different companies on December 17, 2020 and January 10, 2021. The court set June 12 for re-mention of the case and allowed Hanif and Maimunah bailed of 18,000 ringgit and 10,000 ringgit respectively. Pakistan on Wednesday said it has credible intelligence that India plans to launch a military strike within the next 24 to 36 hours. This comes amid an escalation of tensions between the two countries following a deadly attack in Indian-administered Kashmir. Its Information Minister Ataullah Tara accused India of using last week's attack in Pahalgam, which killed 26 tourists, as a false pretext to potentially strike Pakistan. He said any act of aggression will be met with a decisive response. The minister, however, did not provide any concrete information to back up his claim, and the Indian government did not immediately comment publicly on the allegations. Forces from the United States and the United Kingdom have carried out joint airstrikes near Yemen's capital Sana'a, targeting what British authorities say were drone manufacturing facilities of the Houthi group. Royal Air Force Typhoons, refueled by Voyager air tankers, targeted a cluster of buildings about 20 kilometers south of Sana'a, which the UK intelligence identified as sites used to produce drones that have been used in attacks on vessels in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. The British Defence Ministry said the operation was planned to minimize civilian casualties, though no figures were provided. Meanwhile, the US, which has launched repeated strikes on Houthi targets over the past month, has yet to comment on the joint operation. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as excited locals in Russia visit Moscow's first petting cafe, featuring animals such as capybaras, rabbits and nutrias. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin, Abdullah. Thank you for watching and stay safe.